We now have a much clearer image as to a few of the questions surrounding the moments immediately following the horrific crash at Smith Lake. Today, we're going to answer a few of them. Things like who was the very first boat on the scene? What did they see and even what was said? Like what statements and even evidence that's been provided to law enforcement? As well as what the future holds for this whole situation. Of course, litigation and even new legislation. So, let's jump right in. As I'm sure you already know, on April 16th, 3 people were killed and 2 others severely injured when Flint Davis, a competitor in the Major League Fishing Tackle Warehouse Invitationals, struck a center console guide boat off the end of Calvert's Point between the bank and Burrs Island. Now, this location was initially misidentified when the Alabama EMA accidentally directed me towards Goat Island, which is much further east, closer to the takeoff location than from where the incident occurred. But upon realizing the mistake, I immediately corrected it because that's what journalists do. Now, in the few days since my part 2 on this accident, I've uncovered new details. Details that may even point towards a possible cause for the accident and how that relates to the first boat that was on the scene. As Davis was coming through the cut, there was another boat fishing the retaining wall just off the point. It was a fellow competitor in the tournament. Now, as Davis was approaching, this other angler set the hook. Now, this is important because it's alleged that Davis later told law enforcement he didn't see the guide boat because the sun was in his eyes. But for that to be true, he would have had to have been looking behind him. Now, is that a cause? Was something lost in translation? Only Davis himself knows. Once Davis struck the guide boat captained by Gary Holcomb, the other angler was first on the scene, and you would be hard-pressed to have a better person be first at such a tragic incident. Why? He's former law enforcement, therefore he has first responder training. The angler? John Brown. Now, John Brown went out as boat number 64 that day. And while Davis went out as number 1, it took him a while to catch up with Brown because he stopped and did a little fishing before making it to that island pass. As soon as the collision occurred, Brown rushed to be of assistance. And from what I'm being told, the scene was absolutely horrific. The kind of scene that would leave even the most seasoned first responder needing to talk to somebody afterwards. As Brown worked to secure one of the deceased victims to the side of his boat and retrieve others that were injured, he could hear Davis talking in the water, so he knew he was alive and responsive. Shortly thereafter, another angler arrived on scene to help render aid. His name? Jordan Lee. Lee is actually the gentleman who drove Davis back to the ramp, where he briefly spoke with authorities before being sent to a local hospital to attend to his injuries. We gathered from the 2 witnesses that Davis's demeanor was that of being in shock, bewildered, scared, and worried about the other people involved. Now, I know people have been asking about Davis's condition, and there's been no update as of yet. But you got to keep in mind, I'm sure he's been told not to talk to anybody. Now, the investigating authorities in this matter, the Marine Patrol Division of the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, got their hands on Flint Davis's GoPro footage that same day. I've also been told they are currently in possession of John Brown's footage as well. Now, I've been told the accident investigation can take around 2 weeks, and if authorities decide to press criminal charges, they'll then hand over their report to the district attorney for possible indictment. Now, that could take a while. So the overall timeline as to criminal charges and if we'll see them, it's a bit ambiguous. But as it pertains to civil litigation, I can tell you with a 95% certainty that this coming week, the Birmingham law firm of Ferris, Riley, and Pitt will be filing civil lawsuits on behalf of the 2 surviving victims. I have right in front of me. Kirby Ferris will be handling the case on behalf of the young man, Luke Morgan, while Ken Riley will be representing Gary Holcomb, the striper guide. Now, this is the part where I want to have a little discussion with you guys. I know many of you that watched my last video were first-time viewers. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the fact that you're giving me a chance. So I kind of want to introduce myself and tell you why what I do at this channel is different than others. See, since my first day out of high school, I've been a print media journalist. Yes, I also worked in the field of corporate loss prevention. But I was always a freelance writer at the same time. Now, working in corporate loss prevention actually helped my skills as a writer. Why? It gave me the chance to become certified in the art of neurolinguistics. This helps me to read sources better and also connect with who it is I'm talking to. So, it ends up being kind of a symbiotic relationship between the two professions. So when other channels who suffer from the "I was there" main character syndrome throw jabs at me, it tells me they're uneducated about journalism and what it is I do. I mean, if they identified the right striper boat, where was Brown's boat in that image? Also, I never claimed there was fog present at the scene. All I said was that witnesses told me that that area holds fog longer due to its topographical features. And that's a real thing. It's science. However, one of my witnesses did say that there was also light fog at the scene, but I suspect he was kind of talking about this: steam coming off the water, which the other guy clearly showed on his video. At one point, the steam almost completely obstructs the boat directly in front of him. And in certain conditions, running down the lake at speed with steam on the horizon, it's akin to outrunning your headlights at night. Now, do I think steam, or fog for that matter, had any impact on this accident? None whatsoever. I was just trying to be scientifically accurate due to all the initial reports that said there was fog on the water. Now, one of my awesome viewers brought up the literal phenomenon of steam fog. It's a real thing. Check it out. But do I think it had a factor in this? None whatsoever. I'm just saying be careful. Just because someone shared a 21,000 acre body of water with over 100 other boats on the same day does not make them an expert, especially if they don't know how to corroborate witnesses' stories and, do the damn job. Then they throw jabs at other channels for just doing clickbait and trying to get clicks and views. Look, I'm a journalist, they're a creator, and that's fine. I don't do clickbait. It's not like I got on my channel and said I was working for weeks with a known tournament cheater trying to get him on my show under the condition of anonymity, like this.
Special episode. We've been working to get this going for a number of weeks now. We will be interviewing a bass fishing tournament cheater. We've talked about it a lot on the channel, but now we're going to hear it straight from the cheater's mouth.
Only for it to be the channel host off camera throwing his voice in an attempt for clicks and views.
Why cheat? What's the desire to cheat in a tournament?
Well, I think it's pretty simple, and probably pretty obvious. Bass fishing tournaments are high dollar opportunities.
Now, see, on the surface, I don't have a problem with that. That's their style. My style is facts and journalism. Other folks like to create. They like to fabricate and entertain. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just two distinct styles. My only problem is when they start this projection, pot calling the kettle black thing out of guilt for what they do to their viewers. That's where I've got a problem with it. Another thing that kind of bothers me is the handful of people out there who are actually blaming the striper guide being where he was sitting. No, it's perfectly legal for him to be there, and it's a well-known striper location as well as other points on the lake. People just got to be careful when rounding bends. As a matter of fact, according to the Alabama laws, it's illegal to cut that gap when a boat is coming from the east. You're supposed to go wide right to the buoy, which is located at the tip of the island. Anybody cutting that gap risks getting a ticket. Speaking of which, the county coroner actually complained it was hard for him to do his job there at recovery due to all the boats going by throwing wake. We got to do better than that, guys. And because of this accident, Alabama State Senator Garland Gudger has promised new legislation next year to help improve the safety of the area lakes. He plans on working with tournament officials like those at MLF to kind of cobble together what that would look like. And no, I'm not a tournament angler anymore, but it's still where my heart's at. And I think it's up to us, the tournament anglers, to help make our lake safer for everybody. We can't account for the actions of others, but we can hold ourselves and each other accountable so we can do our part to make it safer. One thing is for sure, I'm so thankful for heroes like John Brown, Jordan Lee, and the rest of the first responders that got out there in this recovery effort. I'm telling you, what they saw wasn't pretty. When you see those guys next time, thank them and shake their hands. And with that, I would like to thank each and every single one of you for spending your time with me here today. I'll keep you updated on this story as the situation develops. But until next time we meet, do me a favor, hug your loved ones, and we'll see you again soon.